Hello, ladies and gentlemen, back again to talk about, of all things, the Sabbath. I am sure that I've had a talk about the Sabbath before, but there is a need for a refresher because, as the Igbo people would say, ife nti na-ata agwụghọ nti ama nzu ike. You want to know the meaning of this statement? Learn a little Igbo. But it's important to keep on going over some of the key tenets in Omenana because we are growing every day in Omenana Defenders. Omenana Defenders, by the way, is the Igbo socio-cultural group that relates, interacts with the other arms of Israel, and that has taken up the responsibility of reacquainting, re-educating, re-informing the Igbo people about their deep history, their ancestral connections to the people Israel. Omenana Defenders is growing. African American Igbos, I repeat, Caribbean Igbos are joining. They are returning to the most important part or essence or element of the Igbo people, the culture. Full return entails returning to Omenana. After the return to Omenana, then there will be a return to the land. So, it is important to keep on going over important tenets of the religion and culture of the Igbo people so that they will, alongside those of us that we are born and raised in the Hebrew Igbo Republic, or Igbo land if you wish, will, be fully refreshed at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, the Igbo people, if you like, or the Hebrew people, or the Israelite people, if you like, the Israelites of West Africa, sometimes called the Jews of West Africa, did not become aware of the Sabbath when the European missionaries brought the Christian Bible to them. They had observed Sabbath in what we call, the Igbos had observed Sabbath in what we can call southern Nigeria for over 1,000 years before the Europeans appeared with the Christian Bible. We will get into it now. In my sub-republic, in my sub-Hebrew republic called Ebema, there is a day called Nkwo Oru. In the other sub-republic, where my late brother-in-law Boniface Onwomel came from, called Eziora, there is a day called Eke Ukwu. In my sub-republic called Ebema, on Nkwo Oru days, there is no work, no mourning the dead, no marriage, no mourning the dead, no trading, no buying, no selling, no kind of work on Nkworu days. The same thing happens on Ekuku days. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Israelite biblical Sabbath. What happens on these days is merrymaking, resting, enjoyment, holy enjoyment. The men gather at the various obi where the white stuff, palm wine, continues to do its work. The women will be at home, do an excavation on Sabbath in ancient Israel. You will get a feel. Then, how did we arrive at these days? At Ebema, that is my own sub-Hebrew republic, the markets go around every 4 days. Or rather, the markets, people go to the primary market, the people attend the primary markets of the communities every 4 days. And these 4 days have names. I will start from Ebema now. Remember, I told you our Sabbath day is Nkworu in Ebema. So, one of the market days is Nkwo. The second one is Orie. The third one is Afo. The fourth one is Eke. Or the third one is Eke. Nkwo, Orie, Afo, Eke. That 4 days, okay. The first one, I'm starting from the Sabbath day, Nkwo. Second one is Orie. Third one is Nkwo. Then the fourth one is Eke. The very first Nkwo is a regular day of market. You go, you buy, you sell, you can mourn the dead. The second one is called Nkworu. It is on these days that we do no work, we don't mourn, we don't marry, we don't do any kind of work. It is the Sabbath. The same thing applies to Eke. In Eziora, the first Eke is called Ekenta. The first Eke is called Ekenta. That means small Eke. The second one is called Ekuku, big Eke. On this Eke day, on this second Eke day, the big Eke, no work, no mourning, no marriage, no mourning, no marriage, no work, just palm wine, enjoyment, rest. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Sabbath. Some of our Hebrew brothers have left Christianity and they prefer to say they have returned to Judaism, because Judaism is like Omenana, a religion that came out of Israel. And since the Igbos are the Israelites, the Igbos that adhere to Judaism, they believe that they returned to Judaism, not that they converted to Judaism. We want them to start studying so that they can eloquently have discussions with the Ashkenazi, the Sephardi, the Mizrahi, the Beta Israel Jews, and the Israelis, so that when they tell them we are returning to Judaism, they can discuss it effectively and eloquently. They should start studying. And there are study materials. One of the greatest men I've seen in my life is an Ashkenazi Jew a medical doctor. He took a good look at the first draft of my book. He said, this is the beginning of the Igbo Talmud. Another Jew who operates out of New Mexico took a look at the same book and said, this is the beginnings of the Igbo Mishnah. The Igbos that adhere to Judaism, you will be better informed. You will become assets to the Igbo people, which if you become, the Jewish people will begin to respect you if you begin to study Omenana. One gentleman that I call an Igbo man, he's Ashkenazi Jewish, but I also call him an Igbo man, and he takes it with pride. He's a rabbi. He sees it as bestowment of a mark of honor. He calls me Ezigbo Nwanne, and I call him Ezigbo Nwanne. He agrees in totality with me that Igbo Judaists, Igbos that adhere to Judaism, will be extremely honored and respected in Israel and in the Jewish communities. Those ones I have mentioned, if they are highly and well respected in the Igbo community. And here again, we say, by God's grace, by the grace of the Lord Chukwu, we will continue this holy endeavor of rebuilding the Igbo republics, of rebuilding the Hebrew people, rebuilding the Israelites, so that they will resume their march in history. Dalo, Shalom, Disiye Ike.